going. So with that, we're gonna go and start doing this. What I have here on the table right now is I got I felt the images in the magazine is actually kind of small, so I went to Office Max and in my local area, and I had them printed up to scale, where each of these squares is 1 inch. And so from there, we're gonna cut these out, transfer them over to XPS foam, and start building that. So here we go, rolling over to the build. So you can focus on what I'm seeing here. Oh, you know what? This is the beauty of live testing. Sometimes things just are like weird. So hopefully this doesn't do anything too crazy. Lock that there and hide that. Alrighty. So, alrighty. So we're gonna start. We could start here in the cellar just for as we get going to this, and actually that's not such a bad idea. So set this over here. Oh. yeah, the logo is kind of over, so I have to kind of work with it. So we're going to do our first floor here. We're going to cut it out. I'm going to start with an X-Acto knife and a straight edge. And so I don't mar up my other prints, I'm going to put my cutting board underneath. And we're going to kind of go from there, feel it to where it's all on it. Looks good. Yeah, you can do this with a couple of different straight edges. I know using a plastic ruler was good, as long as you don't try to cut it. But honestly, I kind of like the metal ones, so I definitely know I can't cut it. So we're gonna start, just kind of line this up, and we're just gonna start cutting it out. Okay. Now, obviously, they printed these way bigger than on bigger sheet of paper than I needed, but sometimes you just have to work with what you got. Thankfully, the guys over there didn't charge me an arm and a leg for all this extra paper. So yeah. The first thing I did was something in the starter campaign book, Ruins of Thumbletree, and one of my groups spent several weeks in there. It was a pretty good map. Yeah, the logo was kind of over me, so just kind of working our way through here. While I'm doing this, going to go ahead and shout out to Syrinscape, because they're providing those wonderful backgrounds you're hearing. Kind of our foresty area. So, okay, getting there. I'm working my way through here, trying to get as close to the line as I can. A little bit of background and doing construction stuff, so it's like, you always want to be careful when you're doing your measurements and your lines, because it's easier to take little bits off than put stuff on, you know what I mean? Right, so I think we have all of our vertical cuts. So now we'll kind of slide over here. Just kind of work through our horizontal cuts. I figured this would be a good idea. Another thing I was thinking was doing game streams on Mondays, which we'll get to. I'm not quite sure what game I'll start with. I may start with one I'm currently playing, or start something new just for funsies. So yeah, and also this new lapel mic I've had for a while and testing that out. So hopefully the sound quality is not too bad as you hear me just kind of ramble on like a rambling man. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Alrighty. We're kind of starting to get there, starting to get somewhere. So kind of. Of course, this is kind of like I said, this is inspired by, so at some point this is definitely going to diverge. But I've always been fascinated with these things, so I kind of want to see them in their full, 3D glory. Then I like working with my hands, so anything to do some crafting shouldn't be too bad. So let's see how we did here. Too terrible. Try to be very careful as I get this loose. I know this is so thrilling, like watching paint dry. But that's okay. I'm enjoying doing this. It's a good way to exercise the mind. There we go. One piece out. For the X-Acto knife, it's something I was inspired because I was watching another YouTuber doing a build, and he used an X-Acto knife to cut out all the plans. It's that logic going through the project I really enjoy. So oh, we're almost there. Now for the fun part, getting around the stairs. Oh yeah, this side of the... Alright. There we go. It's one side done. Oh, who'd have thunk it? I forgot one little cross section at the top of the stairs. And there we go. Alright, so that's our first one. Ooh, this table's kind of low. We have to think about that going forward. So, set that over here. Set that piece right there. That was fun. Yeah, I'm definitely have to work out some logistics on this. You know what I mean? Our first little piece cut out. Oh. Alrighty. see. Drip my cord over. Here, I'm gonna set this over here off camera. Alrighty. Maybe better to have this cord drifting over here. That way, if I have to go that direction, I can go that direction. Yeah, there we go. Now we're cooking. Alright, so yeah, we have our first set of floor here. It's not too bad. We have our stairs, which we'll end up working out at some point. Kind of a rough dimension. So, I have this piece. I'm going to set this off to the side and start working here on our first floor. Now, thankfully, this one is big again, just like what we were doing earlier. We're going to cut along the outer perimeter lines to get the large piece up out of the excess, and then from there we'll move on as we get into the XPS foam and whatnot. So, kind of reposition my dealio here and fill in the edges. So obviously there'll be a little bit of sliding around from part to part as we get through this. And straight edge. This looks like it's going to be stairs of some type, so we're going to have to work that out as we get into the foam side. Where did I put the knife? Oh, there it is. Alrighty, so I'm not much of a talking person per se, unless I'm like engaged in a conversation. But this whole talking to myself to the ether, it's gonna be interesting. But you're gonna share it with me, right? You're not gonna judge me too badly, except for you. You know who I'm talking about. You're gonna judge me regardless, because that's what friends do. They playfully judge each other. You know who I'm talking to. Alrighty. So, first cut. We're committed now. Figure out how I'm gonna do those stairs, because obviously this picture is designed. It was in a print, and it wasn't really initially designed for someone to do what I'm doing to it, which is effectively blow it up into a scale representation for the use with standard tabletop minis. So we're going to see how that kind of goes. There we go. Now, the reason I'm using an X-Acto knife instead of a utility knife or whatever is because I really want to get in this fine cuts. When we get into the foam, obviously we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. Sucks not having any real music on my side because I don't have the mic here and I don't have permission to use a lot of music yet. There we go. All right. journey of 1,000 miles, you know, or in this case, 1,000 cuts. Yeah. Of course you're going to be doing that. But that's okay. It's all good. So if anybody else is jumping into the chat, by all means, do a shout out. Let me know you're here. I'll look up and check things out. Got it open on the side. Yeah. Could even do it. Oh, should I even turn on the Discord for this too? I probably will at some point. Gotta have an evolution, you know what I mean? Can't just be like, let's do everything all at once. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. Oh, such a nice cut. Oops. There we go. Okay. I think at this point we're going to have to turn this so I can get to more pieces of it. So the nice thing about this is I don't want to go into this too much with much of a plan. I just want to kind of work through it. And kind of work through it. Why am I turning that? I need to be turning this. As I was saying, I'm trying to talk and think and too many things all at once. Anyways, so yeah, we're going to go through just kind of going through the process, the techniques and everything I'm figuring out. Hopefully sparking the anybody else who's doing this who does this kind of stuff to chime in and give me some opinions. It's kind of an amalgamation of a couple of different things I've seen from various makers and crafters I've seen or follow because, you know, I really enjoy their work and I like what they do. I just want to, you know, work on my own thing because, you know, I think I was commenting to a coworker today. I was like, I like the tangible things I can accomplish. Because that comes from years of being in construction. No. J3, hey, how's it going? Yep, by all means, lurk away, but hopefully I'm not boring you to tears. But yeah. See? I'll get better at this. I'm sure I will. Alrighty. Of course, gotta, you know, shout out to the other peeps out there. Just kind of going through there. So I'm not cutting, there's some doors on this section, so I'm not like cutting to the wall, I'm cutting to the door because I can always trim down from there. There we go. Yep. Okay. Slide this over some more. It's definitely starting to come loose now. So yeah, this is an interesting building. Like I said, it was in a dungeon magazine I got from a buddy. I've always been fascinated with it, but I never got to actually chance to play the module yet. So doing the module now with some twists. I mean, obviously we're in the era of 5th edition, so we can't do exactly the way it was in 2nd edition, which I found out sometimes can be to the bane of the players. I found another module called Madness at Midnight, I think. Yeah, where it was another one of those modules, and it didn't require as much prep to do as this does. But my players definitely had a hard time with it because the creature doesn't exist in 5th edition. So I had to just homebrew out what this thing was in 5th edition. And yeah, they had a good time with that. And by good time, I might have made it a little overpowerful. Just maybe. Yeah, Saladin was in that group that faced that monster. Good times. Yeah, I'm going to start doing weird things, I can tell. Just because I don't want to be, like, overly silent. Oh, yeah. Oh, I love it when it comes together. Yeah. Let me set this down this time. All right. So nice. So that's cut. So right around here is what I got left. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Almost there, and then we'll have the first floor cut out. It's actually going a lot faster than I thought. Not that I was really sure how long it would take to do this particular project. Let's see. Lining that up. Making good use out of this speed square. Or it's not a speed square, it's just a framing square. If I'm going to talk about it too long, maybe we'll get the name right, you know what I mean? Otherwise, my credibility as a carpenter would be just all kinds of screwed up. Oh, good there. Okay, get this side. Oh, yeah. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So, alrighty. Oh, okay, so over here. Good there. Now. Can I not? scored it, but I don't think I actually broke the line. Hence why we're doing this with an X-Acto knife, or craft knife, or whatever. And with that, the first floor is free. Ha ha ha! Oh, wait. Yes. Cool. A lot less left over. Maybe use that for masking or something later. Set this over here. Off the camera. That looks cool. Doesn't that look good? Now this area is right here is supposed to represent a garden. So that'll be interesting because obviously we're gonna have our walls coming up here, but the way it describes it is supposed to be like a clear, like a glass steel in the D&D. So I've been thinking about it. I think I found an alternative or something I can use to represent glass without using actual glass. I'm thinking the picture frame. They make like a plexiglass picture frame glass that you can get in small sheets for a few bucks at Home Depot. I think I'm going to get some of that to use that to build it up. I think it's more along here on this outer wall is open, and then of course the ceiling or the roof line is open. But I think this is supposed to be regular walls with like giant windows. So I could probably use some of that plastic for that too. But we'll get into that as we get into that. Obviously, here's our stairs for our cellar, so our cellar will be interesting when we get to that point. So I'm going to set this off on my table over here so we can start working on the second floor. Once we get the second floor out, then we can start working on transferring this over to XPS foam. It's starting to look really nice. Now this one is obviously in a different orientation and printout than that, because as we're working through it at Office Max, we realized that, hey, not everything was, maybe changing the orientation will help out. So, we'll see how this goes. It's the beauty of this kind of problem solving is we're just going to work our way through every problem until we get it all solved. So let's start over here. Feeling around again. Oh, okay, so I could definitely get here and a good chunk of, definitely here, and then I'll slide and get there and kind of work my way around. So, as usual, safety first. Ish. Safety-ish. Okay. I'm just going to keep testing all the way around. Sorry, I'm lost in thought here. It's like, why am I lost in thought? This was trying to I'm so careful. Ah, yeah, there we go. Wow. Alrighty. So this will be fun. Somehow this wound up wider. Oh, I think what it was is the last one had the steps in front, so I broke it up. This one I don't have that feature. Oh, I don't want to shift that too much. Yeah, it's a good cut there. Slide that this way. There we go. Oh boy, so this is definitely larger in that sense. Oh, not quite over far enough. Cool. Did this trick not too long ago. Let's see. Oh, chat's still hanging out with us. That's good. I appreciate that. I'm really not even paying attention to time. I'm just like, oh, I'll work through and kind of see where we are. Of course, now that I'm cutting some of it away, it's going to get caught on things. Just my luck, right? Alrighty. Down from there. Oh, so. Oh, that's right. Alrighty. So we're going to keep going. We're keeping on going through here. Definitely keeping on getting more of this cut. Now this will be nice because if I can line this up right, it just save me a little bit of headache later. Yeah. Line that up there. Here. Oh, cool. Just right angle, just right around. I like it when a plan comes together. Works for me. That was like right on the edges of my cutting board. Oh boy. That one's there. Here. Oh. So how's everybody doing tonight anyway? Just talking to y'all like you're gonna respond back. Okay. Be nice if you responded back in the chat as I look up or try to remember to look up. That's good. That's good. One more turn of the wheel. Our last side, and then we will have this complete done. Haha, I do pay attention. I'm trying to anyway. See, I saw who come in. I said hi, and thank you for looking neat. You're just being you, Saladin, as always. Of course, I'm pointing at the monitor like I'm pointing at him, like he can. Fourth wall stuff, you know? Alrighty. Last cut. Yeah. Okay. I think she's such a funny guy. Alrighty, so let's take a look and see how our results are so far. So, second floor. Alright, well that's some interesting things to identify from here. So it looks like the second floor overhangs the first floor. Slightly. So here's our first design challenge. Here's our first challenge. This should have been pretty close to scale, but I'm thinking that because the orientation of the printer, or the orientation of the image on the printer, has made things a little out of skew. I'm going to test that theory with a ruler. So obviously I have this ruler here, which is a 1-inch increments. So in theory, that is 1 inch square. Let's take a look at the bottom, the next one down. And this is... All right. No, it literally is. There's an overhang. Second floor overhangs the first. Huh. Well, you know, it's nice to have a front stoop to stand under, I guess. Alrighty. Well, this will make things fun. All right. Well, I need a drink. That's what I need. I need a drink. Need a drink, need a drink, need a drink. Yum, 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 yum. All right. Oh, wow. Really, it's that time already? Wow, we've been doing this almost an hour now. Yeah, we've been doing this an hour. We're going to move on to our next thing. So, next thing will be taking these printouts, cutouts, and transferring over to XPS foam. I'm going to use 1/2 inch XPS foam as our first layer for the floors, and then build up the walls from there. The idea is I'm going to have my floor with everything kind of gridded out, and then we'll do the walls to where the walls come separately, so that when it's on the table you can look down and you don't have to worry about trying to look over and through walls. That's the idea. How it's going to work in practice, I'm not 100% sure yet. So, and of course I want to account for these stairs. That could be interesting. I may do a double layer so that I could bring in the stairs a little bit so that the minis could step up on the stairs. Or I may make it the base on the first floor 1/2 inch. I'm just talking through this, so by all means chime in, or in the future chime in as I'm talking through, and we'll kind of see if what I'm saying makes sense or can help me work through the process. So yeah, foam. Need foam. Got to get foam. All right, let's go get foam. Okay. Going off camera, tethered. All right, coming back. Got our foam. Alrighty, so here's what we got. XPS foam. It's not like the styrofoam. Styrofoam, you like in your packing stuff because that stuff crumbles away. No, this stuff is ejected polystyrene, I think, if I remember right. But yeah, it's the good stuff. So we'll take our second floor and our bait cellar, and we're going to set them off to the side for right now. While that's set off to the side, we have our first floor. Of course, we're going to do this with the foam. The first thing I have to do is, because in the US, this foam comes with a clear plastic, comes with a plastic film over it, which is kind of irritating, kind of annoying. But once you get it off, then, you know, life can move on. Here we go. Shifted the camera around so you can see me doing that better. But I don't know if that's really all that fascinating to anybody. Throw it off to the side. Who cares? I'll clean it up later. Alrighty, so have our foam. I'm going to set our foam down. Now I picked this up over at Home Depot. It's about $15, $16 a sheet. And the sheet being 4 foot by 8 foot, which obviously it's a little hard to carry. So I cut it down into based on the rough estimate, roughly 36 inches by 48. Figure this is a good starting point to look at. Next thing I'm looking in here is, oddly enough, foam has a grain pattern of some type. And if you ever, when you work with it and cut it, if you cut across the grain, it's a lot more difficult, just like with most other building materials. So thinking about this, trying to figure, let me orient my long cuts with the grain. That'll probably make my life much, much easier as we get further along. Now, of course, throughout the process of doing this, we will end up destroying this printout, and I will not be able to get another one. Partially because I really didn't want to pay for multiple sets, because using the plotter, even on a black and white, this set of prints for this cost about $50. So we're about $65 in. $50 roughly for printing, because I have a couple of first draft prints, plus the big plotters, and then I had to buy a new sheet of XPS foam because I didn't have any left from the first sheet I bought a few years ago to lay this out. So about $65 in, and we'll kind of keep that running tally as we go. And so, all right, let's kind of orient this way, and I should have enough left over to also do the cellar when I get to that point. But of course, now here's where the fun begins. Is I've got to cut it, but then it's cutting it into smaller and smaller pieces as we go. So, just trying to get an orientation. I guess I should probably just cut this way, set that to the side, and then start working my way and just have smaller chunks, which I can use for dungeon crafting later. Yeah, I think we're going to go that direction. So, first things first. Going to need... Let's see, what would be the best way to do this? Yep, that's not a bad idea. Pencil... It's not a bad idea, Saladin. Aha! Don't have a... I have a barbecue skewer that I found, and of course I cut off the excess to where it's like a little scoring device. See if that will help me score this better. If not, then, And as right off the bat, we can tell the grain, it's much easier to score along the grain than what it'll be if I try to go across the grain. So. Losing part of my chat here, so. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So, let's... got mechanical pencils over here, so maybe those will work for us. There we go. Mechanical pencil to draw the outline. There we go. That might make this a little easier. Yeah, that definitely makes this a little easier. There you go. You know, the push pins is not a bad idea. Definitely going to make use of that as we get further along. Because going to trim this around, trim the walls out of this. So like I said, this is going to end up getting pretty thoroughly trashed at the end. Chicka-boom, chicka-boom. Slide that over. Kind of wish I had a straight edge this long, but that's okay. Make do with what we got, you know? For that, we're going to go and start. I take that as I think I'll take that as a compliment. You know. Yeah, this isn't going to be the straightest cut. It's okay, this is a rough cut. Probably should have put a new blade on this, but I'll remember that for going forward. Slide, pull it over, and boom. It's not terrible. Yeah, I can definitely tell when you start seeing it like this, you can definitely tell the blades needs to be trimmed up because it's getting dull. Well, that should make that easier. They are breakaway blades. See, it's DeWalt one has the breakaway blades. It's just you need to break away a couple. Break away the one. There. We have our breakaway blade, which we will set up there for now, so that we don't lose it, or it ends up cutting us later because we didn't pay attention. That being said, alrighty. Suggestion was for push pins. It's actually not a bad idea. That is definitely not a bad idea. I definitely see the appeal. I kind of orient this a little bit. Yeah. I don't want to use a contact adhesive or anything to try and get it up, but push pins is not a bad idea, especially because you're going to use those to get this to the area. So, yes, I totally agree. Yeah, but with that, I'm going to kind of toss this up there. And take a quick break while I go grab some push pins. So be right back. So push pins I got from our sewing paraphernalia, because you never know. Found out dungeon crafting, you got a lot of various other items that can go with it. So. Right in there. Okay, so we keep moving ourselves around. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Alrighty, so trying to keep a few inches back. There we go. Shouldn't be terrible. All right. Okay. All right, with that, set the push pins aside. grab our straight edge. Start the process of marking and scoring. I think I'm going to start again with these are the big broad cuts. I know that'll definitely take some finesse. Well, you know what? I'm going to take a book out of... Take some advice from Savage. I'm going to start with the hardest part first, and then from there, work around to the easy stuff. Yeah, there's the ticket. Definitely don't want to use the X-Acto knife on the big heavy foam, so we're going to use this knife. So I'm lining it up on the edge of the paper here, on the straight edge, and kind of just trying to be as straight as I can, perpendicularly. Obviously, if I had some kind of hot wire device, that would make this eternally more easier. But don't have a hot wire, so gonna have to rely on this. Oh, I scraped the... Huh. Don't have a trash can. Should probably have a trash can over here. I don't know why I don't. Something to think about for later, for sure. Alright. Definitely working on my grain with the grain cuts first. Best part when you're cutting foam with a knife is don't try to cut it all at once. Work your way through it. Scoring, going a little bit deeper each pass until you get there. There's no rush. No reason to rush. Ah, there's that telltale sound. Now for the $20 question. I did this all on the mats. Oh, that would have so sucked if I had done that on the table. Because this is a very nice table that's a friend of mine gave me, so I don't really want to mess it up too much more than it already is. But I can refinish it later. Up. Oh, I was getting a little too fast. Let the knife do the work. Don't force it. Oh, I'm getting there. Starting to hear that sound. Oops, no, not there. Okay. Probably going to cut this off. Yep, there's that sound. Oh yeah. Love it when a plan comes together. Making sure I'm on my cutting board. Oh, yeah. Just working my way through as methodically as I can, taking all the time I need. Which I know is like so fascinating. Sorry I don't have anything else to kind of play up, but you know, like I said, this was a first run. Trying to do more things on my channel because like I wanted to do this whole content creation thing. So yeah, little slivers and powder and all kinds of fun stuff. Result, yeah, fairly decent cut. I may have to go through. I may end up going through quite a few more blades than I think on this one. Oh no, give it a shot. Keep turning and turning and turning until we get this cut out. Oh. Let's go back and watch, see how this turned out. Alrighty. Okay. Now, the spots I scored it are not cutting as easily as I would have liked. Of course, stay on the cutting board. Trick to cutting this freehand like this is trying to get an idea where you're keeping that knife perpendicular to the table. Because if you're not, you start to turn a little bit all of a sudden. As you can kind of see through on some of these, you start to have a bevel in the piece you cut off. So you gotta be mindful. It's definitely a skill. It takes practice. I still don't get it right, so there's only so much I can do. So, for the sake of ease of use, I'm just gonna keep all the stuff on here as I rotate around. There we go. Trying to be mindful where I can put this without pushing the push pins, but getting the most cutting surface as I work my way through. One more time, check our orientation, make sure we're on our cutting mat. Let's push. Go. Think about if I were to do this out of wood. I think the only difference is I would use a jigsaw to probably cut parts of this, because obviously cutting, depending on the type of wood you're using, cutting this with a knife might take a little too long. That sound we all love. Oh yeah, it's popping and cracking. I think we're good there. Let's slide that a little bit. We'll test this. There we go, another one. Another one bites the dust. 10-10. Sorry, don't mean to infringe. Pretend you didn't hear it. Alright. Can go in there. Alright. good there. Alright, we're lining up for right here. Already cut most of the steps there, so now it's just this run right here, and then we should be able to break off this piece right there. So, yep, mo better. Alright. So yeah, I picked up the knife at a lot of the stuff I picked up at Home Depot, so if anyone wanted to get into this, it's not hard. It's definitely a skill thing, but hopefully as we go through this, you know, maybe that'll build my credibility as a crafter. I love that feeling. I love it. That's cut, so this is my last cut. Whew. Ooh, it's so exciting. I know. I'm weird. I'm a dork. I understand. Nope. Nope. That works. No, it's not my last cut. It's close though. Totally forgot I got this little piece right there. That's thing about XPS foam, it never goes to waste. Alrighty. Oh. Now, having it square is definitely helpful. With that, voila! have our first floor cut out. I think for the time being, I'm just going to leave these push pins in here because I got more. Until I get to the point I'm scoring for the walls, I'll leave this as is. Oh, wow. Great. This one shouldn't be too terrible. Of course, we have our, it looks like our grain is going left to right. So this one will be a little harder with pins. I don't have a wide area, but pretty sure I can find a way to make this work out. Four. Now, these are our longest cuts, and the rest of these are all kind of minute cuts. So, see what we can do in this one. So to readjust these. be smarter. No, that's not working. I guess there's no real way around it. I gotta move the pins so that I can get the right angle on this to cut it. I think this will vary a little bit. A little bit easier. So we got that cut. Have to notch that around, not around that. Maybe less and less of the straight edge and more of the free hand. This is pretty open. I might be able to get right there. The more things I can do, I'm thinking the more things I can do with the straight edge, the easier this will be later. I could go through trouble and cutting it all out, or I could just let that be like... Just let it be. Build up the wall here like this is stairs coming up. Because that's what this is a stairwell. So I think I might leave that and just build that up a little bit. So it looks like it's about an inch. Just kind of build this U up to be the three-dimensional aspect for the stairs coming down. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I think I'll leave these here, just kind of build that up a little bit to signify it's the walls. This one I'll just let the room be a hair bigger. Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll leave this as is. Don't want to get too far into it because if you start getting small pieces like that, they're not all that stable. But thinking I can definitely work with as far as the scoring to get this a little bit better with the rough-hewed stone, so to speak. Cool. Cool. All right, 2 pieces done. Oh, wow, it's almost 9:30. Well, a couple people are watching, which I do appreciate. Thanks for this demo and whatnot. Alrighty, so like I said, this was kind of an experiment to see about doing a new kind of show where I do dungeon crafting stuff. I think we'll try to do this again next week, Wednesday night, about 7:30, barring any unforeseen circumstances, and we'll carry on with cutting out the second floor and working through this build. So, or I may jump back on a little bit later. I have to see. I have to do some things for work, and then I may come back tonight, or I may prep up the next piece. So, catch you on the next one. Thank you.